Welcome to the Social Podcast, where no discussion or debate is off limits.
Everybody, welcome to the Social. We'd like to welcome to the panel comedian Catherine Ryan joins us today. Thanks for being here, Catherine. Well, listen, she took her love and she took it down. People is reporting that Gisele Bündchen is pregnant with her third child. This is her first child, however, with boyfriend Joaquim Valente, which is her jiu-jitsu instructor. Spicy. Fans, well, what are they doing? They're actually flocking to her ex-husband Tom Brady's Instagram because the former quarterback posted this very sad-looking sunset with lyrics from the classic ballad Landslide just hours after the news of Gisele's pregnancy came out. So, Catherine, I don't know if people are trying to read way too much into that or not. What do you make of either that post or Gisele's news?
I love the news. I have long advocated having a baby with your jiu-jitsu instructor if you can. And I think that men come and go. You can take that however you like, and that a woman's biological legacy is very temporary. And when I see a 44-year-old woman having a baby like that, what is she gonna do? Wait and decide if this was the right relationship. She's added to her wonderful family. Good for her, however she's done it. Great.
Great, wonderful. Yeah, what do you guys think?
I have a slightly different take on this because I have a lot of girlfriends who are divorced and have kids, and they're looking for love. And a lot of them have found a second love. And some of them have found partners who don't have any children. And we've talked about like this unspoken pressure to give this new partner a baby as well. And there's actually a guy that I dated. I dated him fresh off of his breakup with his last fiance, and she was divorced and she had 3 kids. And I'm like, so why did you guys break up? He was like, well, they had a discussion about having kids. And she said, listen, my youngest is 10. I'm not starting from scratch. And he was so incensed, and that broke up their relationship because in his mind, he was like, so I'm going to help you raise your 3 and I'm not gonna get one of my own. I'm not going to a graduation. I get no children. How could you? And they broke up. Funny story is, she met another guy after that, and she had a kid for that guy, and that guy also didn't have children. So I'm wondering, I'm not projecting on Gisele because I don't know her. I'm wondering if there's a little bit of a pressure, because this guy's 37 years old, he has no children. If she felt a little bit like, well, I have my kids, but I also want to give him the pleasure of having a family. I'm wondering if that's going on in her mind.
Yeah.
What do you think, Sam?
I mean, listen, we can't possibly know. It's possible that this relationship between them, I think people are doing the calculations. Maybe it started a long time before the relationship with Tom was actually done.
Oh.
So people are being like, oh, this happened so fast, but we don't know. Anyway, all I know is that this story made me think about myself, make it all about me. I was like recognizing that as soon as I turned 40, I got this message from, I think, the world and my family and the culture and whatever, saying like, you're too old to have kids, another child. And I've shared on the show before that I felt deep regret around that, but it felt like that door was closed after that. There was too many risks. It was gonna be too hard to have a second child. And now when I hear about these like 44-year-olds, and I mean like whatever, there was a 49-year-old, who was it?
Janet Jackson had a baby at 50.
At 50. And when we hear about these things, I think it does a disservice to women. Women who've never had children, women who contemplating have more children and felt like that window had closed, because what we don't hear is how this happened. And maybe it happened naturally, but statistically...
Oh, I'll tell you. You want stats?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I absolutely agree with you. I think that I am so happy for Gisele, and I hope that maybe if I could put it out in the ether, that one day she might disclose how she got pregnant, because the chances of a woman who is 44 to have a pregnancy this way, and I don't like to use the word naturally because fertility doctors use the word spontaneous pregnancy. Spontaneous pregnancy at age 44 for a woman, you have a 1% to 2% chance. That's it. However, if you throw IVF into the mix, now you're looking at different numbers. And I don't mean IVF with your own eggs. It's not the age of the woman, it's the age of our eggs. So if you actually bring IVF into this, and I want to shout out Dr. Kajal Abrol. She's a wonderful fertility doctor who's in the city. She said if there was a donor egg, a donor egg, and the donor was age 30 or younger, your chances of success are actually 50 to 60%. So if we knew this about Gisele, and she's entitled.
Do we have a cost analysis?
$20,000 a cycle.
The minimum.
So you see, what I'm saying is, to your point, as women, as regular women who watch this, and you can be happy for her. We're happy for her.
Yeah, no shade to her.
But on the other hand, let's make it realistic. Regular women cannot afford $20,000 per cycle for a 50 to 60% chance. That's not a 100% chance.
No.
It's 50 to 60% or a 1 to 2% chance if you're age 44 with a spontaneous pregnancy. That's the reality, not Giselle's case.
That makes me feel better.
Right?
I don't know what the full story is, but that makes me feel better.
There you go.
I don't know.
All right,
Real
let's
talk,
move
real
on.
talk.
But you know, if I'm putting it out there, any jiu-jitsu instructors, I'm single.
Call.
Okay, if you're the type of person who tends to fly zone 3, but tries to board with zone 1, I've got some bad news for you. American Airlines is testing technology that'll publicly shame you. A sound will go off if you try to scan your ticket ahead of your assigned group. Oh, you guys like this, all right. So here's the big question though. Would this deter you from cutting the line?
Oh, would that stop you?
Yes.
It would stop you? I could save American Airlines millions of dollars. Just hire me because, speaking for all firstborns in the world, we hate a line cutter. We like rules, we like to follow rules, and if I wasn't on television with a public face, it would be me going, hey, you, get back in line. I'll save you tons of money, call me.
Okay, but here's the deal. As a firstborn as well, who also doesn't really like line cutters, I've become a line cutter. But hear me out.
Traitor.
I know. Hear me out. How many times have you gotten on a plane and you waited till they called your zone, you get on, you open that little hatch to put your carry-on luggage, and it's ramped, it's packed. You are not in your seat yet, but there's no space, and then the stewardess is like, well, you're gonna have to put it somewhere else, and now your bag is at the back of the plane, and you have no space. That only had to happen to me once, and I was like, oh no, zone nothing. As soon as I can get myself and wiggle myself
You're
in there, and if my buzzer went off with the zone whatever, I just play country dumb. I'd be like, oh my God, I didn't realize it's so early in the morning. I'm still gonna try to
Still
trade
go
it.
in. What do you think?
What do you do? I'm a firstborn as well. And I
You line cutting?
I love the rules. I would never line cut, but then I'm also group 1 because I'm very fancy now in the UK, and this technology exists. I'm on tour in Europe at the minute, and it goes, if anybody lines cuts, and I loved it because when you're boarding a plane, everybody crowds the gate.
Yes.
It is a mess.
Confusing.
It's nonsense, and when you fly a lot, that becomes really tiresome. And I've been group 8, I've been group 9, and the reality is, those groups exist for a reason, and if no one was line cutting, if everyone was bringing the appropriate amount of baggage, if there was more rule following, there'd be a space for your bag. And I don't check bags because only one person works in baggage in the UK, I think in all of the country now. And you have to wait, I'm all about the carry-on.
Me too.
But it's like, if it's that important to you, you need to pony up the extra cash and be group 3, perhaps.
Okay, I'll pay extra and I won't line cut.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. I'm the baby here. I'm the second born, so I think this is going to influence. Listen, I'm not a line cutter, but I will say I find the whole situation at airlines confusing, right? It's like you're supposed to, you're waiting to hear your number, but you have to kind of be in the area until, to be the first of your section,
Group,
right?
yeah.
So it's very confusing to know when one line ends, one line ends. So it's an organizational problem on their part, in my opinion.
I saw a social clip. It was a lovely autistic man who was just seething on the flight. And he said, why? Why are autistic people not sorting out the boarding of planes? If the last row is 40, guess who goes first? 40. And then next, 39. And
by
next,
number,
38.
exactly. Numbered seats. Why don't they do it by row?
It's a flawed
exactly.
system.
Because the people who paid extra want to get on the flight first.
It doesn't matter. I don't know. The system itself is flawed, so we shouldn't be turning on each other and public shaming necessarily. Consider another option. The other thing I will say is for you people who are such rule followers and so ready to pounce on someone.
Go for it, baby.
Recently, I was at a grocery store, and I walked inside, and I saw the line, and I was like, forget this, I'm leaving. But as I was leaving with my chicken and putting it back, okay, I was about to put it back, I noticed that there was an empty cashier. Checkout. Okay. So I said to this guy, I was like, hey, you might want to go and do this. The woman, a rule-following woman, thought something was going on. She was like, excuse me, there's a line up here, and you're trying to jump the queue. And I'm like, I would drop the chicken, throw the chicken. Like, I was so mad because she had me pegged as a line cutter, and I wasn't. So you guys just slow your roll when you're ready to judge. Get the full information.
There's a lot of anger directed at me. Listen,
Not at you.
if people don't recognize that there's an empty cashier, that's their problem. And if I alert to somebody else, don't get angry at me. Open your eyes and pay attention to what's going on.
Cynthia, I would like to, on national television, I would like to apologize for my behavior that day. I'm really, really sorry that I did that.
So Emily in Paris star Lucas Bravo told a French newspaper that he's not a fan of his own show, that it does not, quote, stimulate him, and that, quote, I do not want to be a part of a cog that does not tend to take the intelligence of viewers into consideration. Wow. Catherine, what do you think of this honesty? Refreshing or a little bit cringe?
Well, he's absolutely right. It is a lamentable program. But it's one that presumably pays his mortgage. He's working in a very competitive industry, and the scarcity for actors is something he seems to have forgotten. I'm sure he was waiting tables only months ago. We all were. I never forget that come up. And I think now we're in such a privileged position to be on a show at all and slag it off. A lot of people work really hard on that show. A lot of people would love to be put in his position. And people ask me all the time, are you comfortable? Can I get you anything? Are you comfortable? And I say, I don't come to work to be comfortable. Who comes to work to be comfortable? It's not always gonna be the dream, but you're lucky to have a job.
I will add, I watched the show, and in my opinion, he's the weakest link on the show. And who says, you agree, right? And who said that there's no such thing as small parts, only small actors?
Only male actors.
I don't watch this show, I don't know this guy, but I came at this from a different angle. I found this oddly kind of refreshing. And go with me for a minute. I think a lot of times people think that they want to be a something, and in this case it was an actor, and they have an idea in their head about what that will take. And they, you know, maybe the dream was built in high school, they did a play or whatever, and then they get the job, and they don't realize how much is just sitting in a trailer by yourself for hours on end and doing really nothing. And so when I hear about this, what I hear less than, oh, he's so ungrateful, I hear more about, oh, his soul is crying out for a different job. This was not aligned, and he needs to find something else to do. I don't think, like, I don't think you have to be ungrateful to just be kind of candid and being like, this wasn't what I wanted.
But it sounds like he loves acting. If you read the rest of the quotes, he really puts other kinds of projects on a pedestal.
So maybe he'll end up on Broadway, or like there's a reason why, again,
or unemployed.
Or unemployed, because I think here's the deal. You make a very valid point, but there's something really disgusting about taking to a public forum and complaining about the very show that's paying you, while other people you know would kill for that opportunity.
We talk both sides of our mouths when we say we want actors and celebrities to be honest with us, and when they are honest, then we beat them up for it.
No, but we want you also to be cognizant that this is a privilege for you to get paid the way you're getting paid, to have that location, and also to work with top tier talent. Not everybody gets that opportunity when they finally get that chance to be like, you got the job. And we want him to remember that. And also there's another part of it, I think he's overvaluing himself, because I'd never seen this guy before. I'm not saying that, you know, I don't know his CV, but I want him to think about an actor. You guys remember Regé-Jean Page?
Yeah.
He was on the first season. Some of you are like, no, good, I'm gonna tell you the story. He was on the first season of Bridgerton, which was a huge deal. He won NAACP.
He's gorgeous.
Right?
I burned for you. I burned for you.
And everything everybody was talking about. He won an NAACP award.
Yes,
he was nominated for a Primetime Emmy. He made the Times 100, lookout list. And he decided to not go back to the second season, which he was invited to of Bridgerton, because it wasn't stimulating enough for him. What have you heard from Regé since?
But he could be working on something.
He was in the Dungeons and Dragons movie. He was wonderful in that.
But to leave a job, to say this isn't for me, and to gracefully leave without slagging it off is one thing, but to stay and be saying.
He slagged a little bit, but how about this? How about the
But is
actors
he happy? Like, here's the thing, we don't know.
Happy.
We don't know.
Not every single thing is gonna make you happy, but what about the catch-22 where there are actors who are like, listen, sometimes you take this job that pays really well, and it's not stimulating, but it allows you the time and the money to do that independent movie that you really wanna do, or to fund your own project.
But here's the problem.
What about thinking of it that way?
You're absolutely right, and I think what he's doing, he doesn't realize, is shooting himself in the foot, because if you are looking at him for a potential future project, the way that he talks about his current job, would you hire him?
Yep.
You are disrespecting the crew members, the makeup artists, the wardrobe, the directors, the producers. When you are literally crapping on the current job you have, do you not think that Brad Pitt has had many movies that he hates? Yeah, the difference, he kept his mouth shut.
Exactly.
So I just think, you know what? Thou doth protest too much, and there is such a thing as biting the hand that feeds you. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. Complex is asking, what's a food take you have that would get you canceled? For instance, hating on ketchup chips as a Canadian. That would probably get you canceled. What food take would you get canceled for, ladies?
I think 90% of sandwiches are garbage. I think, listen,
That's a big statement, Cynthia.
I think that like a lot of times it's the wrong bread. If it's going to be with deli meats, there's either way too much or like way too little. There's got to be a balance. I also think 90% of like luncheon meats is garbage. Garbage, right? Like
scientifically, yeah.
What do you think?
It's full of carcinogens, but so delicious.
Yeah.
I like the middle of a sandwich. I've been pre-canceled in the UK for exactly this. I went on a program where we talked about things we didn't like, and I put people in the list. I put entire concepts in the list, and the UK backlash when I put bread on the list. They
Bread,
took it
period.
personally.
Why?
They took it like I was trying to take bread off their table. I just don't like bread. I've never eaten bread. We're advised not to even give it to ducks now. They say, oh, you mustn't. You must give them seeds. It swells in their tummy. And yours, Sharon. Why are you like it's? We know it's not food. It's the thing at a restaurant standing in between me and food.
Understood.
I don't like it, but that's all right.
I think for me, I love the sweet and savory combos, that we have in food. So my thing is I put maple syrup on almost everything I eat.
Very Canadian.
Including my eggs and turkey bacon sandwich in the morning, and I drizzle it with maple syrup.
That's good.
My secret ingredient in all my stir fries, sorry, Ryan, it's a heavy dose of maple syrup. What else? In almost any chicken dish I make.
That's fine.
Maple syrup. So, merci Quebec. That's where our maple syrup is coming from.
Mine may get me canceled on the East Coast because for me, it's any food that I have to put on a special bib to eat and get special utensils like mallets and knives and all these crunchy things, and they have to put special like plastic on the table. I'm out. I know lobster and crab, and I know people make a living off of it, but for me, I just see people in that like feeding frenzy with the plastic gloves, going through like the carcass of some.
So you're wearing it after?
It's like a water cockroach, and I just can't unsee it.
It is a water cockroach.
It is a water cockroach.
It's a bottom feeder water cockroach.
Thank you. And I can't do it.
Okay, wow.
I know.
The annual CFDA Awards highlight top talent in American fashion design, and the red carpet was lit with stars last night. So we're going to dig into some of the most memorable looks, our faves perhaps. So Catherine, who was your outstanding or standout look last night?
I loved so many, and I think that when you're highlighting fashion, then it's the wrong choice to play safe. So I love that Erykah Badu went for it. She had a dress. It was just really avant-garde and really different, something we haven't seen before.
This is Tom Brown, I think, right? This is Tom Brown. Oh, her makeup looks very Cleopatra.
Yeah. It's very Met Gala, like I kind of like vibes, but I don't know what the theme would be for this particular look, but she's always very edgy with her fashion.
And my perimenopause could never with all those lips.
You're having a hot flash just looking at it.
So much clothes.
Well, for me last night, it was somebody I didn't know, but I really, really liked her dress. It's a supermodel and influencer, Alex Kosani. And I didn't know who she was, but I saw this like handsy dress. I was like, oh, wow. Yes. And then I was like, who is she? And so she's a big TikToker, but she actually became first famous because she was one of the youngest, if not the youngest, transgender model in the industry when she had turned 12. And she was also one of 2 transgender models in last week's Victoria's Secret show, first time ever. And she's really funny. She's super funny on TikTok. So at first I was like, oh, she takes herself so seriously. She's a model. But then I actually saw her TikTok and I was like, oh, okay, I get you. I actually really, really like her. So shout out, because I would love, if I could, I would wear this in a heartbeat.
You can. That designer's area, and they have a lot of beautiful ready-to-wear that would look tremendous on you.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yes.
well, thanks for that shout out. I'm going to look it up. Gorgeous. What do you think?
I chose somebody who is went more safe look, but I was so sick of looking at the like very, very dark looks. I went with Katie Holmes, because why not? She looks fun.
Oh, she's
fabulous.
back.
She's back.
She's back.
And this is kind of like, for a long time, people were like, oh, don't ever do pink and red together. And I think, like, again, I hope we put that laid that issue to rest. I love the front of it. I think it's gorgeous. Someone in our audience, by the way, is wearing pink and red.
Yes, you are. Right on trend.
Right on trend.
Right on
But what I
trend.
loved about this too was the back. It's a Carolyn Herrera dress. It's got a bow in the back. It's very Katie Holmes. It's a happy dress. It's a joyful dress. I don't know what's going on in her life, but I'm guessing that she's happy. So that again, it stood out to me in a sea of a lot of like dark.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is true.
Well,
This
I'm
is
going to
true.
bring things back to the darkness because My choice was actress Cynthia Erivo, who is wearing Zach Posen style by Jason Bolden. Yes. It's just the drama for me. And you know what? This look was actually inspired by Whitney Houston in The Bodyguard. The Queen of the Night, remember that performance? So that is what she was trying to pay homage to. And I just thought she looked, as soon as I saw her, I was like, oh, the drama girl. That's
but
what
she
you
is
do.
still leaning into her Elphaba because, you know, Wicked is coming out.
Yep.
The film is coming out soon. So I see the Whitney, but I also see her saying, don't forget, movie's coming out.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
and the
Very
nails.
fantastic.
Absolutely. She is snatched.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
That is Zach Posen. That is what good tailoring will do.
Wow, and the nails giving. I mean, I think she needed help going to the bathroom maybe with those nails, but
It's amazing what women can do with those nails.
Yeah,
They can
apparently.
change nappies. To me, those nails say, I'm not doing any housework.
Yeah.
Amen.
And
Amen
I
to that.
want them.
Amen to that. Catherine, exciting news for you. You are going to be a judge on the next season of Canada's Got Talent. Okay, so listen, the judging role is really interesting. You know, what kind of judge are you finding yourself to be?
I feel that I've been brought in as a mercenary from the UK to give a little Simon Cowell, to have the guts to look an 8-year-old hopeful with a guitar straight in the face and say, no, absolutely not. I think Canada has a wonderful reputation for being really kind and really accommodating, and I think that should end here and now.
Are you worried at all about any backlash to the acerbic Catherine?
No, because I don't live here, so I'll just go back home where I'm universally beloved and feared.
A good dose of honesty.
Just turn off the comments section.
Yeah.
You're fine.
I welcome the comments. And actually, I was so floored that Shania Twain is the judge on this series. And I just wanted to sit next to Shania Twain, become her best friend, delete everyone else from my phone, and just wait for that call. And tuning in just for Shania Twain's commentary alone, it makes Canada's Got Talent the best season ever. She's brilliant.
Wow.
She's so humble. When you talk about actors walking away from their jobs, and to see someone like that who's at the top of the world in what she does, just be completely down to earth. I'm not even sure if she realizes she's Shania Twain. I'd say, "Dude, remember, you're Shania Twain. We can get in this restaurant." She's just so gracious, and that's what every entertainer should aspire to.
Amazing. Well, we can't wait. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you here. Thank you.
Subscribe to the Social Podcast so you don't miss a fiery debate. Until next time, socialites.